Let's just go ahead and call to order actually at 7:07. I will act as note taker to the best of my ability. Let's see here. 7:07. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining here. Sorry about the delayed start time here, but we actually, as a board, for those that have been here before, we're on a little bit of a summer break, as you know. Our in-person hybrid location, James John, is going into a deep clean for summer. So we are here on Zoom today with all you lovely folks. So really appreciate you all showing up. So we have a few items on the agenda here, so I can go ahead and kick things off. So for the old business, the first thing that we do have on the list is going through and approving the previous meeting minutes. So with that, we sent them out on the newsletter, and I can also pull them up on my screen, but we'll go ahead and pull these up really quickly here. So we're just going to go through here, and I'm going to just scroll briefly, and then at the end I'll ask if there are any specifics that you had here for us. So I'm just going to scroll, and again, this is just for a formality. We were able to send these out prior, so there should be access to these for those that are interested in reviewing.
Liz Smith was not a guest. She is a member.
I'm a member.
Yeah, Liz Smith is a member. She was not a guest.
Good point.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Go ahead and continue to go down here.
On the community corner, on the second page, you're going backwards. There where it says community corner, their last name is spelt wrong. It's CAVANAUGH.
Like this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I walked by their house the other day after you announced that, and they do have beautiful roses. Okay. All right, perfect. Well,
One other thing, under treasure, the second note, motion to approve the budget is made in second, but it does not say who it was made by or who seconded it. So I don't know. But that's just something to keep for future, that we need to have that.
yeah, I'll just put in here, was not recorded or something. Who made motions due to an error.
Okay. And then down under boosters updates, last sentence says a block party is being thrown Saturday, June 17th, and it wasn't at 6 o'clock, it was 12 to 4. And even my notes say that it was talked about that being 12 to 4.
Okay. Perfect. Do I have, or does anybody else have any corrections for the minutes? Okay. Does anyone object to approving the minutes as is? Okay, well then the minutes are approved unanimously. Thank you. Alrighty, so I will go ahead and go through the additional new business here. So first and foremost, yeah, again, the hybrid meeting schedule. So we are going to be on Zoom again in August. That'll be August, I believe, 12th, or let me look at my calendar as I'm frantically, August 14th, we will be on Zoom, and then we will be returning in person in September when James John is available, which will be September 11th. We will be back in person. So thanks for bearing with us while we're not in a normal space, but we'll get through it and appreciate y'all being here. We'll continue to record like always as well. And then the only other thing that I had on my list, one second. Sorry about that, excuse me. The only other thing I had on my list was just reiterating the Independent District Commission's maps. So going to pull up my screen here again, but for those that are following along, we've been speaking about this for quite some time now, but the city of Portland went through an election that is going to be reforming our entire city form of government, and as part of that, Jenny, I'll get to you in 1 second. As part of that, we are going to be looking at redistricting the city of Portland into 4 distinct districts. Each district will have 3 representatives at city council voted by ranked choice voting, and then the mayor will be voted citywide. So basically what we have here we have 3 options of maps as the Independent District Commission has been going through and working towards. So these maps, Alder, Cedar, and Maple, are now out in the public, and what the next course of action that they're requesting is listening sessions and to provide individual feedback. So as part of this district commission and redistricting proposal, there are actually 2 listening sessions per district as requirement of the project. So the 2 in our area are this upcoming Thursday, July 13th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Self Enhancement Inc. on North Kirby Ave, in person only. And then there is another one on Saturday, July 15th, from 12 to 2 at Charles Jordan Community Center on North Foss. So I highly recommend anybody that has specific opinions or thoughts on any of these maps to attend. We as SJNA have decided we will be in support of all 3 because they keep North Portland whole as far as St. John's, Cathedral Park, and the rest of the North Portland Peninsula. So I personally will be attending the Charles Jordan Community Center event this coming Saturday. So if anybody is also attending that, feel free to stop by and say hi. But these maps are available, and you can view them on the portland.gov/transition website if you have any additional questions. And sorry, somebody had their hand up, and I said I would come back to Jenny.
It was me. I posted in the chat. There's also on Friday coming up, I think it's from 12 to 2, a Zoom meeting, and the link I posted includes the sign in and whatnot for the Zoom.
And oh yes, that's this one right here. It's the virtual one. Yep. Thank you.
They just updated the website today.
Perfect. Can you see this? I think I'm on the site here. But yeah, no, that's great. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, and anybody else, like I said, feel free to attend. Your voice is definitely important to be heard. One thing, like I said, as SJNA, we're not going to quibble over the Northeast and connection points, but I know that a lot of people have opinions on those specifically. But the one thing you can rely on us is going into next year, we're going to be doing additional outreach to help inform the community on how the voting process works, how ranked choice voting will work within this new setup, to hopefully get everybody ready for the election in November of 2024. So any other questions, or we can continue to move along? Great. So what I had here, I think next on the agenda were our guest speakers. So Caroline Pope was planning on being a guest speaker for Portland Street Response. Not seeing that name specifically. I don't know. Do we have any other representative from?
Patrick, she sent us an email saying there was some technical difficulty that was restarting the computer and whatnot. So maybe you just skip ahead and can come back whenever the text difficulties can be solved.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. I see that. Well, I think then in that case, then I don't want to put you on the spot here, but we do have Matthew that we were kind of emailing a bit back and forth, and this is a very informal kind of opportunity here. But Matthew is with Do Good Multnomah here, that works at the St. John's Village right across the street from St. John's Church, who had a wonderful block party this weekend. But Matthew wanted to just kind of get in front of folks and provide a short update as far as what Do Good's proactive plans are in front of the Multnomah or City of Portland daytime camping ban that is, I believe, in effect now, but not quite being enforced. But anyway, I will go ahead and kick it over to you, Matthew, if you want to kind of take it from here.
Thank you. Impromptu. Yeah, my name is Matthew Duenas. I'm a longtime resident of St. John's, and I also work at I'm the program manager at St. John's Village, which is a transitional housing shelter for houseless individuals. With the daytime camping ban that the mayor is imposing, we want to try and figure out ways to get ahead of that, knowing that folks are going to be asked to move or lots of different things, or face consequences. Right now, we're still in the planning stages of that. What we wanted to do was get an idea of what folks in the neighborhood are interested in seeing. We are not opening another shelter in the neighborhood at this point. What we're looking to do is figure out something to bridge that gap. Basically, when folks have to take down their tents from 8 a.m. Till they can put their tents back up at 8 p.m. Whether that looks like some sort of a storage facility or a drop-in shelter or something like that. We're just brainstorming what's around the neighborhood and what we can do ahead of time. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead, I'll put my information in the chat, and I've also taken a picture of my contact information. If you have any questions, suggestions, input, we want to involve the community in this process as much as possible, rather than react to a situation. So if folks have any idea of what to do, please contact me, and we'll go from there. Like I said, this is literally just the beginning phase of things. I don't know how quickly. There are some ideas going around. Nothing is for sure yet, but we are in the process of trying to figure out ways to make this a more tenable situation for everyone in the neighborhood. So that's really all I have. I didn't want to take up a lot of time with the meeting. If you have any insider input, feel free to call or text or email me, and all that information I'll put in the chat as well. Yeah, and I'll turn off my video so you can get my contact information. I'll put it in the chat as well. So thank you very much for making time for me. That's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, no, thank you, Matthew. And I know that looks like, yeah, Tanya was asking the information. So if you can put that in the chat. And then I think, yeah, as we get further along, it sounds like, you're kind of in the exploration phase, but Matthew would love to continue to stay in contact, as things do develop, as I think it would be really informative for the community to definitely be aware of that. And I love your approach here too of being proactive rather than reactive. So no, really appreciate that. And I think like, yeah, as you're working through, where those developments end up going, the door is wide open. You can come back anytime and provide further updates. We love collaborating with you all. Cool.
Thank you.
If we have a moment and Matthew's still on, Patrick, I'm not sure how we're doing by the schedule. I had the pleasure of chatting with Matthew yesterday, actually, but could you talk about how the village itself is doing in terms of capacity and members and outplacement and intake and outtake and all that stuff?
I can. Yes, we are at full capacity right now. It's one of the first times in the last couple of years that we have a steady group of people. We have housed, I believe last year, we housed 14 people. And 2 months ago in May, we housed 3 people, which was the most that we've done in a month. So, we are a transitional housing project, and we are, the idea is to move people from houselessness to long-term sustainable housing, and, building the skills needed to get and maintain permanent housing. So yeah, we're excited. We're in talks with Josh to maybe do something like that barbecue more often, trying to create creative ways to get out the good news about what we're doing as well. So I appreciate all the support that a lot of folks have given our site. So thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Matthew, the one thing I do hear sometimes and would love maybe as a follow-up, but just I've heard from other neighbors that are interested in potentially seeing if there are any volunteer opportunities or other ways to get involved. I feel like I personally am interested as well, but yeah, just if there's any information or further follow-up there, or if they should just contact you.
Yeah, I mean, we have the funny thing about like these services is that we won't have enough people to do something, or we won't have enough money to do something, then it happens, and it happens real quick. And like I would love to get more volunteer opportunities set up. It's just one of those things where it is a small staff, and organizing things on a what is it, hurry up and wait basis sometimes is not conducive to big groups of volunteers. So, but we appreciate everybody's intentions and
Totally.
and all that. We'll do a better job in the future.
No, that's great. Yeah, appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Do-Good or Matthew? Otherwise, I'll give it one sec, but otherwise we have Caroline here from our friends at Portland Street Response. So sorry about that. Who I know you were working through a little tech updates. So yeah, so glad to have you on.
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me. Hope you all can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Suddenly when you need the laptop to work, nothing works and you go in panic mode. So glad you could accommodate me. Before I get going, can we just time check and let me know where?
Yeah, so we're looking good here. So I think if you could, we have you for, yeah, honestly, till 7:45, I think would be
Okay.
amazing. And
Yeah.
if you want to leave a little bit for Q&A, you could even go slightly later, but I would say absolute hard stop has to be 8 o'clock.
Okay, sounds good. So I came in just at the end of what Matt was talking about. I think it was the daytime camping ban, which I'm a city employee, and I would echo that we still really have very little information about that. So no one really knows. I think supposedly there's going to be some maps or some more camping guidelines that are going to come out, but it is it's not clear at all right now. So that said, so yes, I'm Caroline Pope. I use she, her pronouns, and I do community engagement with Portland Street Response. So I'm going to pull up some slides to share with you all. So hold on one moment. Let me just get that going. So I have been with PSR since November. It's the first time I've had a job that's in the news quite so much. My background has been more in, I've worked a lot with Oregon Health Plan and Medicaid and a lot of public health education. So I've been adjusting to kind of the political nature of the work. If you do read the news, you probably are aware of that and just kind of the shifting. But we are, we're here still, despite maybe things that you're seeing. And I think my hope is that we can kind of get through this rocky point, Portland Street response, and be stronger and get some more support. So let me pull these slides up and we'll go from there. And once I pull my slides up, I might not be able to see you all. So if you have questions, maybe Patrick, you can help with that, or you can go from there.
I'll keep an eye out for you, and I'll interject.
And I'm fine with, interrupting as we're going. That's fine. All right, there we go. So let me... All right. So yeah,
Looks great. Thank you.
Great, got it all. Awesome. So Portland Street Response now has been around, so just over 2 years we've been around. And as you might have known, a little bit of history, it started off as a pilot project in the Lentz neighborhood, specifically looking at a study that was looking at arrest rates for folks in a small area of Lentz, and seeing that a large number of them were folks experiencing houselessness, and a lot of them were for nonviolent things like trespassing, unwanted person, disorderly conduct, things like that. So realizing that as a city we really needed a response to this that was focused not on a police response, but really on working with trained social workers and mental health crisis providers to come in, but still be a part of the existing 911 response team. So Portland Street Response came out about 2 years ago, and cities across the country right now are really having a lot of interest in programs like this, and sometimes they're housed in the police department, sometimes they're housed in the fire department, sometimes they are run by the county, sometimes they are nonprofits that get contracted. So it really looks different in different cities and how it and how they operate and how they function. And there's plus and minuses for all of them. So here's a list of some of them that are specifically focused in the fire department. And that was an intentional move for Portland to put us in fire. Really what it means is that we can use the existing 911 system and the skills of the 911 dispatch that they have in their triaging to decide that a non-armed response is going to be the best response. So for us to come in for those calls, it also means we can call for police backup if we need to, or vice versa, which we're seeing actually happen a lot more as police have us co-respond with them. So they'll show up on a call and realize that PSR is a better fit. So we really work very closely with police, though we rarely, usually, we'll show up first. And if something happened, we'd call them in, but really generally we're able to do what we need to do. Our teams, if you've seen our vehicles out, we have Sprinter vans. We have an EMT on the van who can address medical concerns, our mental health crisis responder. We have 2 levels for those. So we have our 1s and our 2s, and it just depends on level of education. Some of them have what's called a QMHP, which is it's a mental health, qualification. And then some of them are licensed social workers. And then we also have some peer support specialists who ride on the rigs. Peer support specialists are folks who have lived experience, maybe of addiction or mental health or being houseless. And then we have our follow-up team, which is made up of community health workers and more peer support. So we function in that 911 system, which can be a barrier sometimes as well, because all of our calls originate from that 911 call. And it's definitely a shift in the way that we think about when and how to call 911. And, this might shift within the city. Again, being a newer program, there might be some changes, in the next, 6 months to a year. Maybe it is a shift out of using 911 because there is a lot of talk right now about really the excessive hold time with 911. So maybe we won't live there forever, but right now we are in 911. And I do see a lot of the benefits there, mostly really, again, that you have those 911 dispatchers who are so skilled and really can discern from the caller what the best response is. So people can actually either request Portland Straight Response, and they'll still explain the situation, or 911 will hear from what's being said that PSR would be the best response. So we don't call, or we don't show up for any sort of violent calls. So if someone is brandishing a weapon, we would not be showing up for that. Of course, many of the calls that we end up, someone might have a weapon on them, but not brandishing a weapon. We wouldn't show up if someone was running through traffic, causing harm to themselves like that. We also cannot respond to calls that are in someone's home or inside of a shelter, because that's considered a private residence. So our calls are out in public or in businesses. And so again, it's all through calling 911. People can call from themselves. They can call for others, or of course, if you saw, a situation on the street, you felt like it was someone was in a space where they needed de-escalation of some sort, or they were having either from drug-induced or a mental state was needing some support at that time. And it was feeling, kind of scary to you. So we really embrace a trauma-informed approach in all the work that we do. And this is something, that we're also trying to kind of bring into the fire department as well. And it's something I think that's gaining momentum everywhere. If you have kids in school, if you work in community organizations, just this idea that we have no idea about the trauma that everyone holds inside of them, or the situations that they had, even an hour before we saw them. So really just approaching everyone with compassion and care and safety. So a lot of that is, talking slowly and making eye contact if it feels appropriate, putting yourself down at the level that someone is and just kind of talking to them, and using that respect with them. So we really try to embrace that in all the work that we do. We also embrace a harm reduction model. So knowing that, just as, we tell people to wear seatbelts, that's like the easiest harm reduction. Driving in cars is dangerous. Wear a seatbelt, it makes it a little bit safer. We also, pass out a lot of Narcan, pass out a lot of fentanyl testing strips. We're not, we can't tell someone to stop using substances or drugs, but we can help them use them safer, hopefully, and then provide them resources and referrals for substance abuse treatment. Cigarettes are on there because they're actually a tool that can be really helpful in a de-escalation situation. Someone who, I've never been a smoker, but I now have a pack of cigarettes on me in those situations when someone is really, really elevated, maybe handing them a cigarette, taking a walk around the block, kind of help them bring them down. And smoking cigarettes may be a better option for them than smoking meth. It's kind of looking at the scale of things. So we do embrace all of this, and again, kind of lead with a human-centered approach. Originally, when PSR was originally formatted, the idea really was to reduce the number of calls responded by the police in which there was no criminal activity. Also, reducing the number of transports to the emergency department for services that could be done in the field. And that number 2 right there, what we're actually seeing is there's a lot more of our calls are medical than we would have ever thought. So the initial call wasn't because of a open wound or a medical need, but that EMT being there is really helpful. So they address the mental health, and then they also can see that that person, maybe they do have a wound that they need to be cared, or maybe they have, chronic illness, or they need to get back on their medication. So there's a lot of medical needs that you can all imagine, that people who are living on the streets often would need, and maybe that's not something that they're even aware of because they're in such kind of an intense, elevated, living moment to moment kind of mindset. So we are really reducing the number of calls. And what we're really seeing is those calls are being reduced in the police queue. So we're able to show up for a lot of those calls that normally the police would have responded to. And we do a lot of what's called down and unchecked calls. So that's when you're seeing someone maybe lying down in the bus kiosk, being very concerned about them. They don't seem to be awake and you're concerned. So those calls get prioritized in our queue. The way our calls come in, we don't address them in the order that they come in. So someone is constantly triaging them and seeing what is most needed at the time.
We have a hand raised. Yeah. Tanya.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Hi, I just was wondering, because I've been talking with Renee Gonzalez's office about Portland's street response, and what I've been hearing is that at this stage, you're not responding to St. John's. Is that accurate? Because like when the businesses call about a mental health issue, if we do get a response, it's only by the police. And when I spoke with the fire department, they said they have nothing, they're not working with PSR at this stage in St. John's, the fire department. And then, like I say, the police answers the mental health calls, and normally they don't really do anything. If they show up, but then they leave. So I'm just curious, like, is it something that is happening in, are there people in St. John's for PSR?
Well, yeah, that is news to me. We're still citywide, and we are part of the fire department. I haven't heard that. That's so Renee Gonzalez's office had told you that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just that they're still working on resources. They have, because I just talked with them the week before 4th of July, and they said that, they're increasing the number. They just hired, like, I think, more people for 911 responses, but in real time in St. John's, when the businesses call regarding a mental health issue, like say the police are responding, we have not yet received one Portland police response person in St. John's for any of the calls we've made. And Renee Gonzalez's office has not really said anything about, when I asked, they're like, well, we're still working on it. So my impression was that wasn't available in St. John's yet.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. That again, and that's shocking to me, and I hadn't heard that. I do know that we have made responses in St. John's. I was just working with at the I'm sorry, in my head of my. So yes, we're part of Portland Fire and Rescue, and we are, we are still working in St. John's. The way it works with our rigs is we don't have there's not set for a certain neighborhood, but they go from, if they have a call, then they kind of, after they respond to that call, then they kind of stay in the area and then go on to the next call. They are stationed, very far away from St. John's, of course, over in Southwest Portland. But they haven't been restricted in the geography of where they're responding to calls, as long as it's within the city boundary. So I am going to follow up on that. It's alarming news to me that I'm surprised about. So thank you, Tanya. I can definitely follow up with the group or follow up with you specifically if you wanted to share your information with me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'll put it in the chat to you.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. It looks like we have a couple more questions here. I'm just going to go in order that they're on my screen here. Liz.
Huge. There I am. Okay. I had a sort of a backup to Tanya's question. Same question. We work together. We had an incident where there was a naked woman last week who was throwing rocks at cars and clearly distressed. And one of our store owners in the district, called it in, and the police came and they put a blanket on her and then they left. My question, and to me, that would be maybe, I'm not sure, I was reading your criteria, maybe a Portland street response appropriate, thing. Can the person calling request Portland street response or suggest it to the dispatcher? Because I feel like the district doesn't even know that's an option because we've never seen you guys here.
Mhm.
And also like that the police, when they came and gave her a blanket, she went right back to what she was doing. So just if you could speak to that, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, that's where clothes would be helpful. Yes. And I mean, having clothes, we, in our rigs, we have clothes for that specific need. I mean, that's probably our number one call is naked or, poorly dressed individuals. Yes, that would be something that we could respond to. It's interesting how dispatch picks up on things. Rock throwing, for instance, how much, if they're causing damage, if the rocks are being targeted at other people. So if they're a threat to others, it's up to dispatch to kind of discern from what's going on. You can definitely request Portland Street response. And if it's something, I think specifically, and I've been doing a lot of work out at Bybee Lakes. So I know that we've responded. I'm thinking like, that's pretty far out. We've been out in Bybee Lakes quite a bit. So we do go out to St. John's. And I think we just need more rigs and more people focused in the neighborhood, because again, you have a situation like that, and if it takes an hour to 2 hours for someone to even respond, the person has left. We all know that, or has walked on, or they're in another neighborhood. So you can request them, and I think it's also just elevating these concerns, to city commissioners and to mayors that, Portland Street Response is a needed program, and we just need more of it in more neighborhoods. And more resources, to be able to, give people the needed clothing, things like that, that they need to have. So yes, you can request that for sure. And I don't know, I'd be interested to go actually to the police. So you're all in the North Precinct for the police. So maybe I'll do some kind of preemptive outreach with them too.
Well, I think we also have the fire department up here as well, right? I believe
Right.
that's, who we work with. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks, Liz. That's not a great answer other than yes, you can request.
It is helpful. I mean, and
yeah.
also I just wanted to raise awareness about it. It seemed like the right kind of thing, but it didn't see, and the police, I'm sure, were going off to some other, like, even more urgent thing. So I'm not casting blame. I'm just saying, gosh, it seems like we have a lot of incidents where we could use you guys. So thank you.
We all know, a blanket on a hot day is not going to stay on a naked body.
Yeah. And Carolyn, when you come up to St. John's, since I've already talked with, like the fire department and all that, if you want me to go with you and help you guide the way, I am more than willing to meet with you and help you out with that.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. And we'll talk more, Tanya. It sounds like a great contact to have and a great partner.
And awesome. I think just for sake of time, we have a couple more questions here. I want to be able to get to these. Jenny Brown.
You would think after all this time I'd be faster on the Zoom call stuff. So I had a similar thing, and my question may have already been answered because I'm not even sure what it is, but I was driving to the post office the other day, and at Richmond and Ivanhoe intersection right there with the McMinimums, there was a guy that was clearly struggling, but he was, all in the intersection, and I wasn't even sure how to, I called 911, but I didn't want to necessarily call 911, but I also didn't want him to get hit by a car. I was in the post office for a little bit, there was a line, so when I came back out, he was still there. Can you advise on future situations?
Yeah, so being in traffic is kind of beyond well, it depends what the traffic is like, but generally someone being in the middle of traffic is out of our scope. It depends what kind of street it's, if it's just a residential street. It depends on the busyness of the street. If someone's standing in the, in the middle of Columbia Boulevard.
He was kind of dancing around.
Yeah, I would say that would be appropriate. It would be appropriate call for us. Yes.
So what I'm hearing, I think the common thing is just how do we get Portland Street Response? What I'm hearing, Caroline, is it fair to say worst case, ask for it?
Oh,
and
yeah.
911 will absolutely figure out the best case for the dispatch. Is that accurate?
Yes, that is accurate. I mean, it really comes to dispatch to, they're trying to keep everyone safe, and they want to send the right person, but you can always request. And you can also say, if Portland Street Response can't come, I want to cancel my call and I don't want the police to come. So you are able to do that.
Great. We'll get to Tom in just a sec. I saw there's a question that came in first from Sandy Meyer. What about chronic problems? Would Portland Street Response come every time?
They
Yeah,
could. I mean, we have definitely repeat callers, of course. Yes.
okay, because I have a income property where they typically will use my property to walk across and do their drugs and stuff. And so I mean, nothing I do makes any difference except when I'm doing it.
Yeah. One thing to just remember, Sandy, is, you know, we're also just, our work is all voluntary in the sense that someone has to choose to work with us. And we can't force anyone to move, and we can't transport anyone. So, similar, if you've seen, you know, we can ask them to please move along or ask them to not engage in that activity right there. But if someone doesn't move, we can't do anything else. You know, we can't really push anyone out of anything. Same with, you know, if someone obviously needs a trip to the emergency room, but they don't want to go, you know, you can't force that onto someone. So everything that we do, someone has to, you know, be voluntarily, you know, willing to work with us.
So the reason it works is because you're talking to them and not intimidating them.
Yeah, that's the hope, that we're kind of coming with a different approach, and we don't look like, you know, we're not in police uniforms, we're not armed. We're just wearing, you know, t-shirts and hoodies, and maybe we're just talking in a different manner, in a different tone, and all of that. So of course, different people have amazing rapport in ways that other people don't, right? So I always think, have someone else try, you know, even if everyone else has tried, you know, get someone else, you know, maybe it just means someone else who looks different or a different gender or something like that. It could always work.
Okay.
But I just want to be clear that we don't have like the magic wand to, you know, to make people move,
Okay.
if that's the desired.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. Can I?
Yeah, and then we'll get back to you, just Caroline,
Okay.
in just a sec. There's a comment here from Tom over in University Park. He just says, reaction from neighbors around the Peninsula Crossing Safe Rest Village is very positive with street response team. Great response time and dealt with the issues. SRV neighbors ask for street response time in most cases. So that's fantastic. Just wanted to give you that little shout out. But let's get back to the presentation, if that's okay.
Great. Oh yeah, that's great to hear about the SRV. I was out there a couple weeks ago. Okay,
we love you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, I was just out at the other two. I'd actually love to talk to more neighbors more, because I went to the two other new Urban Alchemy SRVs today. And they do things a lot differently than we've done other things in Portland. So, but anyway, that's a different conversation. So yeah, these are some examples of calls, everything that you all, you know, are probably pretty familiar with. But our calls come through on what's called a CAD. It's the same laptop that you would see in like a police cruiser. So dispatch sends those into us. And this is what we have. And we also have a callback number. So if you have ever called, you sometimes might get a call back and say, hi, this is PSR. We're responding to your call. Is the person that you were referring to, you know, the male in the red sweatshirt who was dancing around, is he still there? And so we might do some feedback, get some feedback from you, just to be aware. Once we respond to the call, the person more or less becomes like a patient of ours. So then there are HIPAA, you know, rules. So we're not going to share anything more about what happens. But a lot of things that we can, subject throwing rocks, kind of just what we were talking about. These would all be examples of PSR calls. A lot of naked people. That's kind of what happens. So one thing I do really want to hit on also is what our follow-up team does, because that is what's really unique to our program here in Portland. So we have our response team who comes out, right? Our EMTs and our mental health crisis responders, and they respond to all these things, you know, the mental health crisis, the drug-related crisis, things like that. And then we offer, you know, after we assess what's going on and do the best we can at the time, help with wound care, help with referrals, we say, would you like follow-up care with a community health worker? And if they agree to that, that pretty much means that they're assigned to someone who is more or less like a caseworker for them, who can help them with housing, help them get into a safe rest village, help them find transitional housing, help them get back onto Oregon Health Plan. And that person, you know, they're not tied to a specific agency that they're getting services from. It's just someone who can follow them around And there's no expiration point on that. It just kind of organically will end, when the time comes. So that follow-up team, that's our Community Connect team. That's a really special part of our program that not all cities have. And that's where we kind of can continue making relationships and really getting people into housing, into treatment, things like that, taking people to doctor's appointments, providing that support that, people need a lot of support when they're transitioning from housing, from being houseless into housing. And so that, we can help with transportation, all of that stuff, continuing with the, wound care, things like that. This is some data from our last annual kind of report that we had. So since March 28th, 2022, when we went citywide, this is kind of what some of the numbers that we have, and we get about 600 to 700 calls a month right now. And sometimes we're at calls for 4 hours or something, a long time. Sometimes it's a shorter response. And then here's our follow-up team, which is really crucial, again, kind of to help people work with their goals and help them kind of find some more long-term options.
I'm sorry, I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
This is a personal question of mine, so I apologize. But I've heard, I can't remember, is Portland Street Response 24 hours, or is there a certain time of day where PSR is working?
That's a great question. Yeah, so right now we're 7 days a week and we're 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And kind of our next push would be to go 24 hours. Which will be great. It will be hard though, just in the sense of you can't really do any referrals at 3 a.m. If someone, you can't get anyone to a shelter at 3 a.m., things like that. So it would probably be down to 2 rigs, I'd imagine. Overnight, we have usually about 7 rigs that are out during the day. But going 24 hours will be kind of our next push that we'll do. But right now it's those 7 days a week, and we have 2 shifts. So we have a day shift and then a swing shift. Okay,
great. Paul, did you have a question?
Oh, no, I was holding my hand up, just to hold my hand up. Actually, I didn't. No, I didn't have a question, but I do have a question. I was thinking of Carolyn. I'm just curious about the numbers, how many different rigs you have and how many different people you have.
So we have, we have about 7 rigs that are out on rotation. Okay. These Sprinter vans you see here. And then, I think in all, we're about 50 people, right around 50 to 60 folks split up between EMTs, mental health crisis responders, and then the peer support specialists and community health workers.
And you're all based in one location?
We're not, no. So one team is based in the Southwest Waterfront area. And another team is based in Old Town. So our follow-up team is based in Old Town. We do have a lot of, client based out of there. And then we have some people who are based out on Powell, kind of East County. And then again, people are kind of roving around as need be. I think there could be other models that would work for that. I think you could have more neighborhood based. Might be great. So there could be more kind of relationship building with people who are living there. But hopefully in the future, yes, with the growth. So I think it's just good to think of, we've had I think it's like maybe 1 arrest that has come from one of our calls. So we've been very successful in the sense of, providing support and providing resources, and really our staff is really trained at that de-escalation, and which is pretty great to see. There's some trainings that we also offer. If any of you are interested, we do offer a de-escalation training that we can do for community groups. And I think it's just one of those skills that can be good for any of us to know, just kind of being out in the world, and working in community. So again, here are ours. And that's the end of my slides. Happy to answer more questions. Also happy to talk one-on-one with any of you, or also, connect more in person as well. I'll definitely be reaching out to Tanya.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think definitely a connection point with the boosters is going to be, critical to help our small businesses. I think this is an excellent service to help those folks. And then I think there was an earlier question too, Caroline. I don't know if it would be possible, but someone requested if you could send a copy of this PowerPoint. Is that possible?
It sure is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to include, I've been trying to follow up our meetings we have our monthly newsletter. I'll just reiterate a lot of this, and I think it's really good information for the community that we can, also continue to help outreach to the community and make sure people know about the program. So yeah, I would love that if you want to send that over via email.
Yep, I can do that. Please share my information. If
Will
any
do.
of you want, if you're part of another community group or a faith group or anything like that, if you think they'd be interested in a presentation, I'm happy to do that. Happy to come in person, whatever works best for you all. And just kind of talking more. And if you are, a supporter of Portland Street Response, now would be a great time to tell the mayor and to tell city commissioners, because they're kind of deciding what our fate is right now and if where we're going to live as a bureau.
No, perfect. Yeah, that's great. And I think too, it's really, really important. And I think really great to have you on and to hear more about your services that you do offer. So great. Well, if there's no additional questions, we can continue to move things along. But yeah, thank you again, Caroline, so much for hopping on. I think it was a wonderful presentation and great dialogue. And I know I will absolutely be asking for Portland Street Response more often.
Great. Well, yes, thanks for having me on, and thanks for the good questions. And we'll stay in touch.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Alrighty, we're gonna continue down. That's perfect timing, actually. So the only other piece that I had here was our community corner. Since I know we're fairly light on our agenda here, so I know this was a great conversation with Caroline, but just a reminder for the community corner, it's just an opportunity for you all to, if there's anything kind of on your mind or anything specifically that you would like to flag or raise within SJNA, or as we have some of our other folks from the city here to connect to city services. But this is an opportunity for you all to bring up anything that might be top of mind. So I'll go ahead and raise your hand if there's anything you want to bring up, and then we can kind of go through the list for maybe about 10 minutes here. So we can thank you, Jenny, for starting. If you want to go ahead.
Hi, I work at George Middle School. My title is Sun Site Manager. If you want to talk about what that means, message me anytime. So every year PBS does like back to school, clean up the schools event. It's always in August, kind of right before school starts. I'm pulling up the spreadsheet because all the schools are doing it. So this year they're doing it 2 dates, and they let the schools choose. August 12th and August 19th, or when they are doing it. August 12th is Roosevelt's and Sitton's. Most everybody else's is the 19th. They're both Saturdays from 10 to 12 a.m. I'll post it on both the St. John's Facebook pages, the community one and the like general one. But I just want to put on your radar the 12th and the 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's like, weeding and, cutting back all the overgrowth, and like this building's been sitting there since the summer and nobody's had the capacity to deal with it. So my contact information is there in the chat. And if anybody wants to reach out to me about Sun or George or PBS, feel free.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you, Jenny. And for that, is that just kind of show up day of and people can help? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we can absolutely include that in
And
the
like if you think you might be busy or whatever and your plans fall through, show up anyway. It's fine.
No worries. Yeah.
RSVP is not necessary.
Okay, great. Well, we can go ahead and definitely get that in from an outreach standpoint. So August 12th and the 19th. Can you just say again the schools when those
Yeah,
are
let me
happening
pull it
again?
back up again. It's right here. I just
Sorry.
have to get to the right screen. There's always so many screens. So Astor, George, James John, and Cesar Chavez are on the 19th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Roosevelt and Sitton are on the 12th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I know Astor and Chavez aren't necessarily St. John specific, but those are the ones on my list because those are Roosevelt cluster. So
Perfect. So George and James John 19th, Roosevelt sitting 12th, 10 to
Yeah.
12. All right.
Yeah.
We'll we'll absolutely.
And you're free to put my contact information and whatever you put out there. I'm able to field whatever communications come out.
Cool. That's great. No, we'll communicate out on Facebook, Instagram as well with
Thank
our
you.
outreach side of things. Thank you. Anything else from the community corner? Go ahead. Feel free to jump in with any specifics. Okay. All right. Well, we can go ahead and keep things moving along. I appreciate that, Jenny. We'll go down to our board updates. So first and foremost, go ahead and give the spotlight over to at large, our friend Paul, for an update on the Safer Together Block Party program.
Thanks. Okay, I will. And this is just an update. Everything is going pretty well, I think. And I've been, just so you know, I have been really pulled out of Portland with family stuff, and I'm traveling again this weekend. But anyway, nonetheless, everything's moving along pretty well. Let me just show you the this little table that Juan and I use here. So so far we have had 10, move it up a little bit. We've had 10 block parties starting way back here on April 23rd. Can you see this? I think you can. And so we've done all of these. And except for let me get Sit in School in there too. There we go. And scheduled the next weekend, of course, is the Jazz Festival. I'm going to be in Missouri, but the weekend after that we have 4 scheduled. And after that, our friend Sandy Meyer, who's here tonight, and then so on. So 10, we've done 10. We have, I believe, the 17 scheduled. I have to recount them. I believe there's 17 more scheduled. So that's 27. But there are still about 14 people, names who signed up that we don't have dates for. Some of these we're still negotiating with because travel and all that. A couple of them were sort of double counted, so they don't count. One person said, I've had some emergencies, I just can't do it. That's fine. A couple of people were actually out of area, don't live in St. John's. We just said, no, well, you know, your neighborhood association should do it. But there's still a little handful of people that we have to contact, and some of them will host block parties, and probably some of them won't. But there's still lots of slots here. And as you see, I mean, if it comes to it, we can do 4 in a weekend. So if you are thinking of holding a block party, it'd be great to do it. And by the way, so here's Jeremy over on Tioga is holding one on a Thursday night. No reason not to. It doesn't have to be on a weekend. And so that's all, just moving along fine. There's still our slots. We said we would do about 30. Well, we have about 30 in the bag, but there's no reason to stop at 30. Block parties they're just a fun time, and they do bring people together, and the neighbors love them. And we've had people say, wow, the neighborhood feels different now. And I love that stuff. I love it. So, and so if you love it, go ahead and sign up if you haven't signed up for Block Party. And I hope that SJNA will keep doing this next year, even if we don't have a grant, because we have all this stuff now. We are well equipped to do, by the way. One of the things that came out of the, we were underspending, we're still underspending, but I had a long meeting with Regina Ingabwire at the PBIM, Portland Bureau of Emergency Management. And I said, oh, I'd like to support the hosts. And she said, oh, just procure food for them. Just call that procurement. And I said, okay, if we can call food procurement, that's fine. So we've offered hosts $75 in addition to whatever they're going to spend on food. Somebody said, great, I'll get a lobster. But maybe 75 is not enough. But anyway, there's a little cash to make it easy to have a really nice party, buy a little extra food and all. And now we have a bouncy castle, and we've gotten pretty good at the logistics of putting these things on. So
very cool.
That's all. Any questions? I'd love to answer them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, go
Yes.
ahead.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Oh, well, I just wondered, the manual keeps talking about a buddy. Are you my buddy?
I'm your buddy.
Okay, because I'm still, as far as I know, I'm the sole person attending this block party, so I'm just getting nervous.
Yeah,
So,
and Sandy and I have just, if I can talk about us a little bit, Sandy, so we've talked a number of times. And one of the really great things is to get your friends involved, and Sandy's been struggling to do that. And in fact, if anybody lives over near here, and Patrick, you do, by the way.
Where's this? I was just sharing the map. We can look at this right now.
Yeah.
oh, it's right there by the Key Bank by Fred Meyer.
Right here.
It's right in there, yeah. And aren't you right over there, Cedro?
This is mine.
Well, that's yours. Okay, well, maybe not so much, but
Oh,
but
wow.
it's pretty close. Anyway, if somebody can lend a hand to Sandy, that would be great. And I'm going to do some, but again, I'm really kind of torn in a lot of places now. So, and one of the things I love about what Sandy's doing is that not only is she inviting her friends and neighbors, but she's inviting the businesses, like the people that work at Key Bank. Well, good, because they're part of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, July 29th. Yeah, I could potentially check my schedule, see, because I'm like, yeah, right here. So
yeah, it'd be really cool if you could. And just, things like help. When we were doing ours on the street, I wasn't the host, but I helped a lot. And we just I've done this one other time too. Just, you take this side of the street, I'll take this side of the street. Just walk down the street, knock on doors. After a couple of houses, exchange what's happening and keep going on. It's easy with two people. Things that are easy with two people can be hard with one person.
Okay, so Paul, you're not going to be available this week, but maybe Patrick, you will be. So
yeah, why don't you send me your contact information and maybe we can take that off the meeting here.
Okay.
I have another question. So for people who don't know yet, I mean, including myself a little bit, because I'm still going to make my block party on the 23rd. What do we offer for them, or what can we do for them? So I know right now that I have to get my street permit. That's my next step. And then I guess just get together with you and we bring all the stuff and then we do the block party. But also Frog Ferry's having some questions, because they're not going to need a permit because it's on the green anchors. So what's the process there?
Process for what?
For our involvement as SJNA in,
well, I think,
the creation of the block party.
I think you and I and they need to talk to make sure that it is a safer together block party. And it can be that plus Frog Ferry. But it's really got to have that sort of the disaster preparedness theme fairly prominent there. Well, we can talk and sort of work that out, because I don't know exactly what conversations you've had with them and what their expectations are.
So what we do for everyone right now would be, I am assuming, bringing the games, bringing the tent, bringing the sign, the safer together,
Yes.
information about SJNA and some other stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
And maybe something else if we talk about specifics, get together with you, but that's what anyone could expect from us while they're making their party. Is that right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say, I want to switch the language. It's not that we bring, it's that they can pick up.
Okay. I like that.
A little shift there. And we can bring things if people don't have any way to pick them up, we can bring them, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Any other questions, or otherwise we can keep things moving here? Cool.
Just gonna say, this is Susan from Frog Ferry. Paul,
Hi, Susan.
hi, would you mind putting your email in the chat?
I would be delighted to.
We actually got a little bit of funding. So we actually, as part of the disaster preparedness, we want to run a boat and give free rides for community members in the event of a major disaster, and talk about a by water evacuation. So that's kind of our tie into the theme. and working with Juan on that.
Okay, well, that is great. That's great. And let's get the nets as such involved in that too, because that sounds as much like a net, something the nets should know about. Let's talk. I'd be happy to talk. I'll give you my email on my phone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Susan.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm going to keep things moving along here then for the board updates, and we'll get everybody out of here. The next on my list is Vice Chair, RJ.
All right. Hey, y'all. Super quick one from me. I have my own block party coming up. So Paul will be in touch, but August 13th, if anybody is sort of near the beer porch area, it's about where I'm at. You can find me on the map there. Other activities coming up, we will be looking to do another salt cleanup sometime the rest of this summer, whether it's later this month, early in August, or sometime in August, somewhere in that range, we'll be doing another salt cleanup. And then, as been talked about before, we held a cleanup on Earth Day. We had got a grant from Metro to operate that. We partnered with the St. John's Sustainability Coalition, did it at Roosevelt High School. We hauled away 8.5 tons of waste. There will be some kind of cleanup event this late fall. It's very preliminary, and you'll see exactly what it is, involving potentially a leaf cleanup or recycling event. There's a couple of things being bounced around, but we do have leftover funds from that Metro grant we can use towards the cleanup. So probably sometime November or maybe even early December, depending on when the leaves fall and when the city comes through to pick them up and do stuff like that. There'll be another bigger event to be on the lookout for as well. So we'll have a salt cleanup coming in the next month or so, and then as we get towards November, December, there'll be another sort of larger cleanup event. So just kind of stay tuned for that and more details to come.
Perfect. Sorry, I was trying to get a mute there frantically. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the update there. Great. I will go ahead and kick it over to Treasurer for Treasurer updates. And I will work on sharing my screen here as well. Let's see here. Sorry, Bernadine, 1 second here. Of course, my Microsoft Excel was updating. I think we're back. Okay, here we go. Yes. You gotta love it. All right. I'm gonna zoom in. Okay, perfect. Take it away.
Okay, well, as you can see, we've got our general checking account. This is from June 11th through July 9th. Yesterday, our beginning balance was $12,828.53. We had no income. We had expenses of MailChimp, which was July $59.50. That's the monthly email service and stuff. Total expenses $39.50. Ending balance $12,789.03. Restricted out of that is $3,085.60 for the Metro grant for the cleanups and stuff. We have we have restricted $7,700.93 of Safer Together grant. And we still have $65.65 from the Day of the Child grant restricted for the George Middle School. I had gone back, as I reported last month, their check hadn't cleared. I went in, they had found the check and said they were going to process it. Well, it still hasn't gone through the bank yet. So we're still carrying it.
Bernadine?
Yes.
You just said George Middle School. Reach out to me if you need, I can help with that.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever the lady was that was in the office the day I went, she said they had just come across it. She had the envelope and the check and said she'd process it. So, and that was
My
like
contact
a
information
day or
is in the-
two before the end of school.
Yeah, so that's crazy time. So they can't necessarily keep track of anything, but I'll message you directly and I'll give you my information and I can help with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any questions about our general account? Okay, go on to the next one. Is our art fund, which is a restricted account. Same time frame, June 11th to July 9th. $100.04, no income, no expenses. Our balance as of yesterday, $100.04. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to bottle drop. Bottle drop, same time frame. We started out with a beginning balance from June 11th of $509.84. We had bags dropped for $60.30 income, no expenses. So we now have $570.14 in our bottle drop account. Any questions? Okay, and I have delivered to like 5-6 houses bottle drop bags in the last week and a half. So that seems to be going well. Any questions at all? Okay.
Cool. Well, thank you, Bernadine, as always. Yeah, bottle drop. I also have some bags I need to drop off, like Paul. So we're collecting funds as we have all these block parties. So we'll continue to just feed it all back in to the system. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I'll continue to go along here. Safety and livability. Austin is traveling today. He's unable to make it. But I think, yeah, Portland street response, I think, was a great opportunity there. And then the only other thing is that I heard the North Portland PSAC meeting that was happening last month. No one from the police department showed up. So there was no representative there. So that was essentially canceled. I do know that there are some changes happening within North Precinct, so maybe that has something to do with it, but we'll get Austin and the team to provide an update when the next one happens. And then we'll continue down the list here to go ahead with at large. Juan, do you want to provide Frog Ferry updates?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do all the things I've been doing, and I'll finish with Frog Ferry. So yes, the Spanish translation, we're still doing that. Spanish communication. Actually, at block parties, it's been really helpful. We've gotten a few people that signed up that probably otherwise wouldn't because they only speak Spanish. And speaking about block parties, I feel like we need some volunteers still because it's always Paul and me picking up at the end. I mean, not always. I've missed a few of them, but it would be really, really good if anyone can show up to just help with anything and just hang out. Like, also, it's fun. We've also been working on or like talking about having a day of the week that pedestrians can use the street of Lombard for a few hours. We're still working on that. I mean, we haven't decided on like some communication to some key people that we need to support this to get it done. And also, yeah, that ties to the Frog Ferry as well, just the modal share. Frog Ferry actually is going to do the Safer Together block party August 27th with the river runs, as Susan said. They also want people to reach out to city council. And probably if you want to do that, we can help you like with the things that need to be said, or if you want to do it yourself, you can also do that. Like, why is it a good project? Why are we going to be benefited from it? Why do we need to get into downtown in 25 minutes instead of an hour for people that don't use a car like me? And also to just talk about with Frog Ferry, how can SJNA partner up with them? I think that the Safer Together block party is going to be one of the ways we can do that, but also just other events can happen just to talk about, just give out information. I feel like there's a lot of information that people don't know about it. There's been a lot of research, and like I don't sit down to read all the research. Even if I did, I probably wouldn't understand it, but fortunately there's a lot of experts that can talk about it and like really make it easy for people. And I've also been doing some videos. If you want to check them out, the Frog Ferry Instagram, I think it's Friends of the Frog Ferry. You can see them there. And also for SJNA, the block parties, the Instagram of the neighborhood association has one of the block parties that happen in the plaza, and I'm still working on some others that I need to edit, but I'll get them done and then you'll see them on the social media. How can I get Spanish translation for the block party? I can definitely help you with that. I'll just drop my email on the chat.
Thank you.
And yeah, you can just write to me and I'll help you with that. And anyone who wants to do that, I can do it pretty, like I get it done pretty fast. I use a thing that like does most of it, and then I just look over it and like correct the mistakes.
Cool.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Juan. I'm going to keep things moving along here. So I'm just going to call it transportation, but Matthew, how about at-large updates from you? You're muted.
Here we go. I had a meeting to revive N-Plug last month. That's well underway. Now including transportation as well. That's about it as far as things that I've been doing.
Revive
But,
what? I'm sorry.
N-Plug, I was really hoping everyone understood what that meant. I'm pretty sure it's North Portland Land Use and G. And they've added a T on the end now for transportation. It was a great meeting, got to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of excitement there.
G is for group.
Well, yeah, one would expect. Yeah, that makes sense. Very productive meeting. We're going to resume after the summer in September.
Very cool. Well, I will say this is new news for you, Matthew, but Mary, thank you so much for helping, but has helped connect our friend Mike at PBOT, specifically around looking at adding additional transportation access down the hill to Cathedral Park, specifically to support a lot of the density that is being built down there, and also access to the river and to the park. So long story short, there is an email chain going back and forth that hopefully we can connect and bring together Cathedral Park and St. John's to help PBOT apply for a grant from ODOT to do some additional studies on doing some street improvements that are required in order to have additional TriMet access get down the hill, because I think that would benefit both neighborhoods immensely. So that's a new update that is fresh off the books here. Very cool. Okay, we don't have outreach, so I'm going to just go to our guest speakers here. Boosters update.
Hey, Tanya's probably still on here too. Maybe yes, no.
Yeah, it
Cannot
looks like
see.
she is. Yep.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't know.
And
who
I
wants
wanted
take
to
it.
tell you guys that one of the many things that Tanya works on for us is updating our calendar on our website. So I put the link to the calendar in the chat, and every time somebody submits an event to us or we have an event, it goes on that calendar. So it's a really great place to look for those kind of things. So we have, some weekly things going on. On Wednesdays at 5:30, Weird Sisters hosts a Knitting in the Plaza event, which is just a drop-in knitting event. And even if you don't know how to knit, they'll teach you. So you can drop by and knit with some nice people. So those have been really good. And those are every Wednesday night. And then on Thursdays, some of you know, we have what's called game night. And this is like something we did in coordination with Peabot. And we host, you just come and play like board games. We've got how many board games, Tanya? Like 30?
I think there's 25. Yeah, there's a lot.
25 board games that Peabot bought for us for this purpose. And we have a different business host every week. We had St. John Center for Opportunity hosted last week. Deanna Cantrell Photography is hosting this Thursday. It's from 6:30 to 8:30, and you just come, and again, you can just learn to play games. There's all different kinds, everything from cornhole to a giant Jenga to like more traditional board games and card games. So it's really, really fun. And then if I could share my screen, I wanted to share the obviously big event that's going on today. They just launched their poster, so I wanted to share it.
Sharing's on for you, Liz.
All right. All right. Can you see that?
Whoa.
Right?
There it is. Nice.
Yeah, I met with them today and they were passing out posters. So I'm going to be helping them pass out a couple tomorrow. But this is the first time they've had like a really professional, cool poster in a while. They're beautiful. And some of the headliners on the lineup are on there. And they'll also be for sale down at the festival. And if you want to go to find out about the festival, go to jazzsocietyofOregon.org. It has the whole lineup. It has how you can sign up to volunteer. They are looking for volunteers. It's going to be a warm weekend, so they are suggesting that people leave their dogs at home. You know, just come yourself. You know, just you don't even need to bring anything. They have all kinds of drinks and drink sponsors. They have more food trucks than ever before. There's entertainment, all kinds of stuff. So it should be a wonderful year. So just wanted to share that with you guys. And I have the digital of that poster if you want me to send it to you.
Yeah, I would love that. If we could get that to Carol, please, for outreach, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely. I'll email it tonight. Yeah.
Any updates on the clock? I've been walking by and checking it out, but I don't know.
we decided that it's just always 12:30 in St. John's. That's the answer to that.
There you go.
We are the land that time does not touch. I will let Tanya answer that question.
So as you all know, we replaced the motor. It didn't really work. But today, I have scheduled and signed contract with the electrician to rewire the entire clock. And at that time, the guys from the Clock Association will come and redo the motor. And then we'll have LED lights up. So within the next couple of weeks, fingers crossed, it will be done.
Amazing. That
But
is so cool.
yeah, don't quote me, but fingers crossed, because I've said that before. But I'm still trying. So there you
We're
go.
close.
We are.
I got my clock emoji just for that one. Okay, great. Let's see here. SJCO. Do we have SJCO on the call? I don't think I see them at the moment. So I'm going to put NPNS on the spot here as the last guest speaker. But Mary, any updates from your end as our guest from NPNS Inc.?
Maybe. Let's see. I may have mentioned that Commissioner Ryan will be coming to the firehouse for town hall August 10th. That is not happening that date. So it's right now we're working on scheduling that. I guess he'll be on vacation then. So scratch that off your calendars if it was on your calendar. Let's see. I really appreciated that Portland Street Response presentation. I have some questions to follow up with her. I don't know if there's time afterwards, Patrick and Juan. I'd love to chat with you briefly about some information that I found that we were talking about at the board meeting. But I'd also like to introduce my new coworker at North Portland Neighborhood Services. I think she's still here. There she is. Okay. Summer. All right. So Summer Money is now working at NPNS.
Amazing. So happy to have you, Summer. Thank you again. Yeah, really, really needed, Mary. I feel your pain. I know you've had a lot on your plate, so we're excited
Yes.
to see some help coming your way.
Yeah. So thanks. Thanks, Patrick.
Very cool. Okay. All right. Let's see. Anything else in the chat? Nope. I think we're. Jenny, did you have a question, or was that just by accident?
It was not by accident, but it was answered. I just didn't know what NPNS was, but then it was answered, so.
Ah, okay. Yes, our friends over in Kenton, that we all kind of ladder up to connect back to the city. So
I definitely felt like I knew what it was, but in the moment I was struggling.
no worries. Yeah, Juan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just forgot to add so like about the live translation for the Zoom meetings, like when do we know when that's gonna happen? Like because maybe even if we don't have people that need Spanish at the meeting right now, for adding it to YouTube later, like to like people who can watch it after, like with the subtitles, maybe it could be really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that that's something that I think we're hopefully waiting to hear from Mary on some updates within the city and civic life. And then I know RJ, we were gonna connect and see from a budget standpoint, yeah, as part of what we can potentially be reimbursed for from Zoom. But I don't want to speak for it, but I believe you can select closed captioning on YouTube. I don't know how well it does, but I think it can do that. I don't know if it can do it in Spanish though. But yeah, we can connect on that one for sure. Cool. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and then adjourn here at 8:34. But Mary, I'm down to stay on, and Juan, I don't know if you want to stay on for just a minute, but otherwise, thanks everybody for joining. We'll see you again next month on Zoom, and then see you in person in September, hopefully. So have a wonderful evening, and thanks for everything.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.